Hi everyone, another rather sad day and don't know why. You can see I have been taking a few cuttings, well more than a few cuttings. This is Xerosicyos dangui, a Madagascan plant, considered to be fairly rare, called a penny plant or a dollar plant. Anyhow, this one I picked up last year, I think it was last year, off of eBay from a seller in America, and it grew very, very well. But once again, I think due to the trouble I've had with a certain brand of compost, or John Innes compost, I haven't liked it. Now, as I say, we look at a plant and say, well, that's not sparkling. What we mean sparkling is it's not doing what it should do. And these leaves, look, they're virtually dehydrated, absolutely dried. The next step will be dead leaves. Now have a look at the plant it came from. I haven't taken it out the pot yet, I will do. At the moment, showing you what I was left with. A lovely rootstock, or was a lovely rootstock, but it's as dead as a door now. I want to know why. I've taken off all the cuttings, which I shall obviously root up, but I think this is down to the actual compost. As you see, the plant is it was a lovely strong growing plant, but then it suddenly stopped growing, or well, I didn't say it stopped growing, it just suddenly became with leaves that become very thin. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna grow these ones on, or root them up. Possibly the pot was too deep. I know it is a fairly deep pot. I will try growing these cuttings in. I was kind of tempted to put them into a tray, which I can stand down on the floor and let grow up through the staging, or up to the staging. Whatever I do, I've got to sort it out. But when you take cuttings, make sure you cut back to good clean tissue. But I say it's been a bad year. It has been a very bad year. I also lost my plant from Hawaii, Brighamia. No apparent reason. It just went. Everyone's told me they're difficult to grow. You read about it on YouTube and you think, oh, that's easy. They say it's easy. But take my tip, it's not easy. And I won't be attempting that one again. It's one of my failures. We have failures in life, I'm afraid, and that is one of them. I was a bit upset because I got the thing to grow well. I say grow well, to put on a few nice leaves. I sprayed it regularly as I'd advised to, but no, it didn't want to know. And the next thing I know, the leaves died off. The stem was soft. I cut it back to try and get back to good tissue, but you couldn't. So I'm afraid that went in the dustbin. Getting back to Xerosicyos, that is what I'm left with at the moment. Now I've got another one which was also put in the same type of soil, and there's two lots there. I think there must be two plants. In fact, if you look at that plant in there, there's two plants. There's that plant there is actually growing. Look at the thick Lovely penny leaves, look at them, lovely and thick. I remember seeing this plant, or not seeing it, but reading about it when I was a kid, and I wanted one. It was in a cactus and succulent book by Bertrand, Guillemin, was it? Guillemin and Bertrand, I believe. They were two French people, and I first come across it. But here we got the two plants. One is growing very, very well, which I think I've got no point in taking that out of the pot, but I'm going to have to remove the one at the side, which has gone thick. You think how thin those leaves are compared to that one. That is a definite succulent leaf, but look at that. It's almost like a cigarette paper. So that'll be another cutting, or another load of cuttings, but I shall keep the two lots separate because they're different clones, and clones are so important. So I'll chop this one up, put that elsewhere, and we'll see what we do. Now, looking at the end here, we've got a few more that are in bits and bobs. They haven't done well. This is the latest one down there which I'm looking at. That came from one of our shows. That was okay. These ones might perk up, as I say. There's no sign of they're just not, in my book, they're not doing that well. A new growth on there. So we'll wait and see. Anyhow, that's all I'm going to have to say today. Except the weather's cooled down a bit. Not that you would notice it. Standing in the greenhouse, it's well, this house one I use for odds and ends, propagating and that. It's still pretty warm. In fact, I'm looking at the thermometer now. We're reading just under 90. That's Fahrenheit. It's probably in metric as well, I don't know. Yeah, it is. It's just over 30 degrees Celsius. We seem to use Celsius now. Originally, the Celsius scale, or centigrade as some people call it, was the other way around, where 0 now is freezing and 100 is the boiling point of water at sea level. Originally it was the other way around. 0 was the boiling point and 100 was the freezing point, and it wasn't until his mate, a certain Linnaeus from the plants, very well known, they obviously were mates, and he changed it round. So this is why the Celsius scale is what it is today. Not forgetting the Fahrenheit scale, which is 32 to 212 in the boiling point and freezing, and Römer, I pronounce it right, Römer, which you often see on French thermometers that were fairly old. And I believe, and someone will correct me, that 80 degrees was the boiling point. So we've got your three different thermometer scales. Anyhow, I'm going to shut up if I'm talking too much and put this up. So there was a few cuttings there, and the dead rootstock and part rootstock dead on that one. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe, pass comments, do all the things you do on YouTube. Thanks again, thank you.